define peace?
A dog asleep.
It's very easy.
You watch a cat or a dog sleeping. That's peaceful. Doesn't it look peaceful?
Mm-hmm.
They're just lying there. They're so peaceful. Right? They're just spread out. Everything's spread out across the floor, and they're being peaceful. How is that so hard for us? I think peace is that quality I talked about, your internal quality. In Tai Chi, I tell my students when they're standing in the we call standing meditation or hugging the tree position, I tell them to have every cell in their body become quiet. Just to have every cell be quiet. And if you make every cell in your body quiet, aren't you peaceful? Because it's just quiet. It's not noisy. It's quiet. So quietness in your body is a peaceful feeling. But our cells are like, especially this one. Right? But our bodies do the same thing. Everything's tense and everything's overreacting, overstimulated, right? Everything's going crazy. And then you can't be peaceful. Right? But you can absolutely operate in the world keeping every cell quiet. Better, in fact. Right? So to me, that's the quality of peace, is having every cell in your body quiet.
Is peace found through quieting the mind, through practices such as meditation and Tai Chi? Or is that more of a bodily function? So you're talking about inviting the body, every atom of the body, every cell of the body to be peaceful. But what if the mind, but the mind is like a belligerent child. It won't often sit. We call that monkey mind or drunken monkey mind. So what if I can invite my body to be peaceful, experience that quality of peace, and yet the mind is still bouncing around, thinking about, planning, worrying, all of the above. So how do you cultivate peace? Is it through the body or through the mind? Or both?
Both. So one of the practices I'll have my Tai Chi students, again when they're standing, is I'll have them stand here. Now when you're standing, it's not like sitting down, right? When you're standing, your mind has to do something to keep you standing. It has to do something, right? Because you have to stay standing. Sitting down, you can just relax your body. You don't have to worry about it. Standing up, you have to do something. Your mind has to be involved in that. So while I have them standing, I'll tell them to put their mind 1,000 miles ahead of them, 1,000 miles behind them, 1,000 miles to the left, 1,000 miles to the right. I defy you to have any thought in your head while you're trying to have your mind that far away. You can't. You're so involved in trying to have your mind so far away. That's all you can do with your mind at that time. Any thought that would come in is gone. The same thing would happen if I tell you to put your mind on your body internally and make every cell in your body quiet. Your mind can't think of anything else. It's so occupied with just trying to do that, that's all your mind is capable of doing. When you do that, your mind becomes the same way. There are cells in here too. Everything starts to quiet down. You do that over time, you start to sense what that feels like to you in your body and in your mind. And if, like with anything else, when you get used to an experience, it's easy to replicate the experience. You just have to put your mind on it. Right? You put your mind on it. The problem is we're putting our mind every place else except here. We're not being mindful of this one. So to me, mindfulness anyway is, what is this one doing? Whatever act you're doing, whatever it is you're doing out there, what is this one doing while you're doing it? If you can pay attention to what this one feels like while you're doing it, now you can keep this one peaceful. But we're never keeping our attention on this. We're out there, and we're reacting to this. If you're out there reacting to this, this one's reacting to it, this one's reacting to it. Now you've lost control of this. No more peace. All right? So the practice is mind and body. But if you use your mind to focus on this getting quiet, those crazy monkey thoughts, they die off. Just like your body getting used to that feeling, your mind will get used to that feeling of just being empty, you know? And then you think of just the things you need to think of, not the other stuff.
In the previous video, you mentioned a young lady who had a t-shirt with a peace sign on it, who was going to go out and demonstrate in a non-peaceful way.
Right.
So I think oftentimes there's a big disconnect about how we want peace to come about in the world. And I know for myself, when I look out for all of the peacemakers, they're usually met with a lot of violence, right? They're killed, Gandhi and MLK, and so many people who wanted to make change in the world in a peaceful way were squashed. So I know for myself, when I want to invite peace into my mind and into my body, sometimes there's fear that comes up and squashes the desire for peace.
In yourself?
In myself. Because if I'm a peaceful person, doesn't that mean that, you know, I'm not the alpha dog, that I'm not out there, you know, being successful? If I'm peaceful, if I experience peace within, which I do oftentimes, can I really make a change in the world by peacefully protesting? I mean, that's again incongruent, peaceful and protesting. But if I come from a place of peace, am I really making a change anywhere else in the world?
How are you around peaceful people?
Peaceful.
How are you around angry people?
Angry.
So if you want to change things, how do you want to be?
Peaceful.
It's a very simple answer, right? If you want the world to be peaceful, you need to be peaceful. The change, you can't demand it of the 7 billion people. You can only ask it of yourself, right? So if you yourself can be peaceful, the people around you will feel it. If you're angry, the people around you will feel it, right? So the only way you're going to make change is from the inside out. Okay, you can demand it. You can demand peace. You can demand people to be peaceful. How has that worked?
Not well.
Not well.
No.
You can't create it by force. You just create it by being peaceful. And it's not your job. I know there's a lot of activism, and there should be, because changes need to be made, and there are people who will do that, you know, to make the changes, because nobody wants slavery. I shouldn't say that. There are people who want slavery.
That's true.
But if you're going to change that, some actions have to be taken to it, and a lot of times it's a very violent change. Just like with anything in life, even with trees or the plants or animals, change comes about really violently sometimes, you know? But we don't want it. We want it to be peaceful change. The only thing that you are in control of is yourself. Yourself. That's it. That's the only thing you have control over. Some things you can control, obviously. You drive your car, right? Some things you have control of out there. But mostly the only thing you really can control is this one. So if you want a peaceful world, it has to start with if you're peaceful in the world, the world is peaceful to you. Right?
What about the incongruence of, I want to be peaceful, and yet I watch the news, I eat a less than sattvic diet, even, you know, being part of the Western world, it's so hard to be peaceful. It seems like even though I could cultivate peace internally, I'm still surrounded, and find places like your center a haven for peace, and find other like-minded people who are also wanting to experience peace. But just out there in the world, sometimes it can be so difficult. I feel like I'm bombarded by everything other than peace.
There's certainly a lot of stress and anxiety and fear and anger out in the world. But again, it comes back to are you able to hold yourself the way you want to hold yourself?
Mm-hmm.
That's what it comes back to. If you're not, you'll get bombarded.
Mm-hmm.
If you can hold yourself the way you want to hold it, you're not getting bombarded.
Mm.
That's your choice.
Mm.
And you have total control over that. Because any reaction you're having to the anger and frustration or stress out there, you're doing it.
Mm.
No one else is doing it. Like someone said to me, I got angry because this person made me angry. I said, no one made you angry.
Mm-hmm.
It has to happen in here. Anger happens within you.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is experienced in here. So if you're feeling angry, no one made you angry. You decided to be angry.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing I wish people would work on,
Mm-hmm.
is work on themselves. Because if you work on this one,
Mm-hmm.
you can hold it in equality the way you want it. I talk about this all the time in meditation and in Tai Chi. Getting this to be in a certain quality that does not change, especially Tai Chi. When someone touches you, right, you cannot change the quality of your Chi. If you do, you're lost. Okay? And it's the same thing in the world. You go out into the world. I remember going to a mall, and I was with my girlfriend. We go to the mall, and I hate malls. Bright lights, noise, people running everywhere. And so she went to a store, and I found a little quiet hallway. And I sat down, and I just sat there meditating. And then this guy came and sat at the table next to me, got on the phone, and just talked so loudly, like he had a megaphone, and he's just blah, 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 he's just going on and on and on and on. It actually became a very nice experience for me, because I was able to identify, there's me, I'll stay with me.
Nice.
And just knowing the difference, I can stay with myself.
Right.
So keeping my quality, doesn't matter what happens around you. You just keep your quality, right? As long as you're able to do that, it doesn't matter where you go.
So going back to one of the other videos, you know peace. And if you know peace, it doesn't have to be a belief, right?
Right.
You experienced peace in that moment because you made a choice. I could go over there and be with the loud guy, or I am with myself.
Right.
And you chose to be with yourself in peace.
I don't need to run away from this situation.
Right.
Right? Normally it's, oh, that's loud, I have to go someplace else now. Like, no, I'll go someplace else here. Not physically get away from this, but in here, I'll just create this quality. And I'm fine. Keep talking, I'm fine. Right? But we don't. We allow this to affect this. And then that's where our problems come. The outside world, the energy from the outside world, we let it affect us, we react to it, and next thing you know, you're sick.
I think that's one of the biggest aha moments with people who learn to meditate, that they can actually create that state of peacefulness within themselves.
Yes.
That it's not something out there, that is something completely in here.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.